Hi guys, my name is Hannah Settle. I know I'm new to the page, so I'll quickly introduce myself. I was born in Virginia on the east coast of the United States, and my dad pastored there until I was about 14 years old. And then the Lord called us as missionaries to Denmark. We went on deputation for a couple of years, and I moved there when I was about 16. I stayed there for a couple of years, really enjoyed the mission field, came back to Capital City Baptist College when I was 18 years old, and that's where I met Joy, who is a regular on this page. I'm sure you know her by now. She's very sweet. But after that, the Lord called our family as of March this year back to South Carolina, still on the east coast of the United States, but my dad is an assistant pastor at a church here, and so now that we're back from college for the summer, that's where I am. And it has been great just to see how the Lord has worked in so many different places, and even with moving all over the place, which I know some of you will probably be familiar with, God is still the same God wherever you are. And I am not a regular on this page, as I'm sure you know by now, but Joy has asked me to share a few things about my prayer life. First of all, I just want to say there are so many people that have so much better prayer lives than me, and I know that so much. I have read books, and I have watched my parents pray, and my pastors pray, and different missionaries pray in different countries. I remember one story. There was a missionary in Germany that had gone before the wall came down, when half of Germany was still communistic and the other half was free. And he would smuggle Bibles over the wall, and he would just pray every time that the Lord would keep them safe, and even the guards that would help him smuggle them over. And I remember when the wall came down, hearing the stories of when the wall came down and how many prayers were answered. And there are so many amazing stories of God answering prayers in other people's lives. But when you see God answer a prayer personally in your life, it's just so much more real. When God becomes real to you and you're not just watching God work in somebody else's life, then I believe it increases your faith in God and just increases your walk with him, because you have seen how real God is, and it just increases your ability to trust him more. So I will share a few things that I do in organizing my prayer life. There are so many different things you can pray for, and you've heard of people praying for an hour. And when you first hear that, you're like, that's insane, that's crazy, how do people pray for an hour? But the first thing I would suggest is to make a list in keeping your prayer life organized. There are certain things you have on your heart and your mind that you pray for all the time, and those are good things, but there are things that you would never remember. A couple years ago, I took the time to make lists of the kids on our bus routes and the kids in junior church. And without writing those down, I never would have remembered all those names. There are 100 kids that come in on our bus routes in Texas every week. And without writing them down, I don't have that good of a memory. I wouldn't have remembered them all. Maybe you can, but I never would have. So I made a list of all our bus route kids. I have a list of everyone in my family. I have a list of some of the preachers I know and of my teachers and the authority. I have a list of everyone in college. And if you know me, I'm very much a list person, so this was something I wanted to do anyway, but I was surprised at how much it helped me stay organized in my prayer life. As far as, like I said, there's certain things on your heart that you pray for every day, but just having a list to help you remember to pray, oh, right, there's that family member that lives somewhere else that I don't see very much, but I do need to pray for them. And I think lists help keep you very organized. One thing I like to do with my list is use sticky notes. I love sticky notes, but with a sticky note, it's very easy to add something. Even here, I'll show you something really quick. This is my list for the bus routes and junior church, and over here I have a sticky note with the new contacts. These are pretty consistent. Some of them are marked VBS. This is a list we had for a special event. There are different lists going on here, but this list would be very easily removed, and then I could add with a Sharpie later if I wanted to. So that's something I really like to do, because sticky notes can be put on even with prayer requests that aren't consistent. Maybe you're praying for someone that has cancer, and obviously they're not going to have cancer for forever. And so when the Lord chooses to heal them, or if maybe sadly they pass away, then you're able to take that sticky note off and not have to redo your entire list, because transferring prayer journals are hard. So sticky notes are one thing that I like to do to keep organized. Another thing I like to do is, you can categorize your list, but everything isn't going to fit on your list. There are these random prayer requests that come up sometimes. So I like to keep a prayer journal, and you can just write in there your prayer request. And I love, honestly, going back and looking at these, because you have all these prayer requests written down, and as they're answered, you can mark them off. And that's one of my favorite parts about keeping a prayer journal, is just going back and seeing the things that are marked off. Another thing I like to do, I know this is a lot, but another thing I like to do is I have this book, and inside of it I write prayers that have been specifically answered. Now this one is a lot easier to travel with, instead of all these lists that are hanging on the wall. Obviously they're not very easy to travel with. But I do have it organized in sections, as far as like, this is my list of people I pray for to be saved. This is a list I had of personal requests. I have one in here for different churches that I've gotten to know very well over the past few years, and just different things that I pray for. But in the front is my prayer journal. And once one of these prayers that you've been praying for a long while are answered, it is so awesome just to see the Lord work in little ways. And so when a prayer is answered, I love writing the story. Like, this is what I was praying for. These are the emotions I was feeling when I started praying for it, because you can get pretty distraught. This is what I was praying for, and then this is how the Lord worked in the situation, and this is how the Lord answered it. And sometimes the devil tries to get you discouraged, and that is a great time to go back and read the prayer journal and say, it doesn't matter how much the devil tries to discourage me, this is what God has done in my life, and I will continue to trust it, because I know he is real and I know he works. Even if I'm going through a trial, God is still on his throne. One prayer recently, it actually happened a couple weeks ago, the very small thing that the Lord answered personally for me had to do with bananas. And it was very interesting. There were a lot of people since this coronavirus, a lot of people that were helping me clean the church and disinfect afterwards. And obviously that's a huge blessing, because I didn't have to do it by myself. I was very thankful for that. And so I wanted to do a little something to show them my thanks. For some random reason, I thought, banana bread. I'm going to make them banana bread. And so I started praying, Lord, I don't make very much money. I don't know. I guess I could buy the ingredients for banana bread, but Lord, I'm just going to pray that you'll provide them, or maybe provide a little extra money so that I could buy them. And a week later, one of the girls that was staying at the house with me, one of our dorm mates, I guess, she left, and she had all her baking supplies she loved to bake. And she told me, Hannah, please use all of my groceries, use anything I have. And I was like, wow, the Lord answered that prayer so fast. I have everything except bananas. So I was like, okay, Lord, can you provide some bananas? My sister's using my car a lot. I don't really have an opportunity to go to the store. But provide some bananas for me. And we went over to someone's house to help them move, and they had these random grocery items. They're like, these are gonna go bad before we get unpacked again. Please just take these and use them. And in the bag was two things: onions and a big bunch of bananas. And I know it didn't mean much to anybody else, bananas and onions, what are you gonna do with that? But to me, it was a huge answer to prayer, because the Lord provided that. And just to see the Lord work in little ways that it might not make a difference in the rest of my life, but it made a difference spiritually in the way I look at things, to say God does answer prayers, even little things. So another thing I would suggest in your prayer life is just that, to thank the Lord. When God answers a prayer, make sure you thank him for it and show him praise. I love to start every prayer with a little bit of thanksgiving and a little bit of praise, just to show the Lord how amazing he is. And don't always be asking God for things. another thing I did was I made a prayer focus schedule. I realized even though I had lists, I was praying for a lot of the same things every day. So I made a schedule per se, not necessarily that you only have to pray for these things, but just a recommendation that you can pray for these things. One was Missionary Monday. So on Mondays, my focus is to pray for missionaries. On Tuesday is Teacher Tuesday, and I pray for all my authorities and all those in leadership. On Wednesday is Worries Wednesday, and this is a lot of my personal day where you have these personal prayer requests that maybe are just heavy on your heart but don't mean a lot in someone else's life, and you just worry about them, and that's when I pray for those things. It's on Wednesday. On Thursday, I wanted to set aside a day where I was just praying and thanking God for things. So that is Thankful Thursday. On Thursday, I only pray prayers of thankfulness. I try not to pray for anything else. Obviously, you can if you'd like, but I've chosen to take a day to not ask God for anything, but just to thank Him for everything He's already done for me. On Friday is Family and Friends. On Saturday is Souls Saturday, which I love because that's usually the day we go soul winning. So that's the day I pray for all my contacts, maybe some of our best families, the people I know in other countries that need to be saved specifically, and my heart for them. And then on Sunday is a day we take back and we go to church and we do minister, but it's also a time for us to get refilled and refreshed. So on Sunday, I pray for my spirit to be right throughout the week, and for my attitude to be correct with other people, and for my walk with God to be what it should be. So when you pray, just be real with God. He's your best friend and He's done everything for you. Prayer is a very serious thing, but it doesn't have to be so stoic. You can tell God what happened during your day and laugh. You can cry. Just talk to God. There is no greater thing than just taking your time alone and talking to Him. So one thing I was challenged to a while ago was praying for an hour. And it seems impossible. An hour is a whole long time, especially when you're sitting and praying. But I would not suggest starting with an hour. It's very overwhelming. I would suggest set a timer for 5 minutes and pray for 5 minutes. And once you get used to that, in 5 minutes is easy because you know you have your list, you have things to pray for. Set a timer for 10 minutes and make yourself pray and work yourself up. I would pray for an hour. I do not pray for an hour every day. I do not. But praying for an hour is such an experience. And honestly, when your hour is over, you feel like, wow, that went really fast. I could talk to God longer. Just being able to take your quiet time, retreat from all the craziness of the world, and just talk to God is the best thing you could ever do. So I know this is getting lengthy, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. But thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share what I do in my prayer life. And I would be excited to hear some of the things that you do in your prayer life too. You know, we can always learn from each other. Someone shared the app with me, Operation World, and it'll send you a different country every day to pray for. I recently found the app called Prayer. You don't always have a piece of paper and a pen to write your prayer request down, but on this app you can write your prayer request down, separate it by category, and I really enjoyed using that app recently too. So just find different ways to where you can pray. Obviously, you don't have to have a specific place to pray, but I've chosen to have a prayer closet. You can pray anywhere, and that is something I love about the Lord. Maybe we've been out of church and coronavirus, but you can still worship God from your home, from outside. God isn't just a God that sits in the temple and we can only worship Him there. He hears you everywhere, and you can worship Him and pray to Him and hear from Him anywhere you are. But having a special place to go where you pray every day is an incredible thing, and I think it would make a difference in your prayer life. But that concludes the tips I have for today. I hope you all have a wonderful day and just keep serving God. Bye-bye.